Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. So we're going to pick right back up where we left off yesterday in that the son chose to return to his father's house. So of course we are talking about the breastplate of righteousness this week in our armor of God study and really digging into righteousness. Of course, we've talked about that it is Jesus' righteousness that we are in. It is him who did all the work. We are beneficiaries of that work. And so the son chose to come home. And when he did, the father restored him, basically, gave outward expressions of who the son was, the robe, the rings, and the shoes. And in the same way, when we come to ourselves, as we just read yesterday in Luke 15:17, and we return to our Father's house, we receive the same warm embrace that the younger son did. We are loved, and he gives us his clothing. He clothes us as expressions of who we were born to be and to whose household we belong. Isn't that beautiful? That we come and he clothes us and he makes us recognizable again as his children. Just like I love that word that the Amplified uses, that the son said, I can no longer be recognized. I don't deserve to be recognized as your son, but you came. You know, that's the same thing that the Father longs for from us, is that we come to him and then he makes us look like his son. I think that picture is, or his daughter, his children, that picture is so powerful and so beautiful. And that when we come, though we were made in his image and though we were made as his people, we don't look like his people. And so when we come, he begins to make us look like we belong to his household. Oh, God is so good. But you know, the other side of that is that the son could have chosen not to come home. And what would he have forfeited if he had not come home? Well, being a son. Outside of the father's household, he was not treated as a son. He was not treated as anything important. He was treated, well, like the pigs, to be quite honest, which in the Jewish culture and tradition is lowest of the low. The most filthy animal is the pig. And so the son could have chosen to stay in that lifestyle. He could have chosen to stay condemned by the way that he felt and what he had done and how he had conducted himself and how he had taken from his father, you know, what was his, how he had squandered everything he had. He could have stayed in those feelings of condemnation. He could have stayed in those feelings of, I'm not worthy to go back to my father. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. And he would have missed out on being received into the family and then being restored to be recognized as a son. He could have chosen not to come home. And I think that's a very important point for us to realize and remember, in that though the father does not want it, because in the story of the prodigal, it says that he ran when he saw his son a long way off. He was moved with tenderness and he ran and embraced him and kissed him fervently. See, the father longed for the son to be in the household, to be in the rightful place where he belonged, to be recognized as the son that he was. But not everybody chooses to come back home. And so just like you can choose to return home and be clothed in the robe and the ring and the shoes and to look like the son that you are, wearing the clothes of the father, of the household, you can also choose not to. And so, again, when we choose not to, we stay in those feelings of condemnation. And this is really interesting, and I wasn't planning to read this today, but I'll do it to close this out. I'm not very familiar with the book of Zechariah, And I'm going to change that because this is really interesting. And I know that it's a prophetic book. It's one of the minor prophets. But in Zechariah 3, it says, "Then the angel showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at Joshua's right side to be his adversary and to accuse him. And the Lord said to Satan, the Lord rebuke you, O Satan, even the Lord, who is now and habitually chooses Jerusalem, rebuke you. Is this not the returned captive Joshua, a brand plucked out of the fire? And Joshua was clothed with filthy garments and was standing before the angel of the Lord. And he spoke to those who stood before him, saying, Take away the filthy garments from him. And he said to Joshua, Behold, I have caused your iniquity to pass from you, and I will clothe you with rich apparel." And so, interesting here that it says, the Lord showed me Joshua standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at Joshua's right hand to be his adversary and to accuse him. Well, standing in those filthy rags, as Satan would accuse you, you would feel like that. You would feel the condemnation. You would feel the filth. You would feel the wrong decisions, the bad choices, the undeserving. But the Lord said, Take away the filthy garments from him. And he said to Joshua, I have caused your iniquity to pass from you, and I will clothe you in rich apparel. So we have to choose, are we going to succumb and stay in those feelings of condemnation where we feel like we deserve the filthy rags that we're standing in? Or are we going to come back to our Father's house and allow him to make us look like we belong there? Be recognized as sons and daughters of God. Oh, that's rich. All right, we'll pick up here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.